Hi, welcome back once again to Cbse Board Economics. Today we're going deep into national income accounting. Today we'll be discussing all the three methods of measurement of national income. Which are the three methods? One, product method. We call it also as value added method or net output method. The second one is income method or factor income method, and the third one is expenditure method. By any of these methods, the answer will be the same. Whether you do it by product method or income method or expenditure method, the national income will remain the same. After learning all the concepts of product method, we are familiar with gross value of output, gross value added, net value added at market price, net value added at factor cost. Let's find out how do you measure national income by product method. So we'll be starting the product method. Don't forget, product method is also called as net output method or value added method. Who estimates national income statistics in India? There is an organization called CSO, Central Statistical Organization. It is the responsibility of CSO, Central Statistical Organization, to estimate national income statistics in India. This organization, CSO, comes under Ministry of Finance. They follow these steps to estimate national income by product method. Let's see which are these steps one by one. You can see it on the board. Product method or value added method or net output method. What are the steps involved? The first step is classification of industries. All the industries in the economy, with this we classify them under three categories. One is primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. We have already seen this. The whole economy is divided into three sectors. One is primary sector. We have already seen earlier. I repeat again, what exactly is primary sector? Primary sector deals with the exploitation of natural resources, directly deal with the nature, which are these. Under this come agriculture, fishing, mining, logging, forestry, something to do with nature directly. Like in the economy, some people are farmers. They produce rice, wheat. Some people are fishermen. Some people logging. Some people do quarrying, mines and all. So the first step is classification of industries. All the industries in the economy come under these three categories. Primary sector, that something to do with the exploitation of natural. Secondary sector, manufacturing sector we call it. What exactly is manufacturing? Converting primary goods into more useful products. For example, they convert wood into furniture. They convert sugar cane into sugar. That is a secondary sector. All industries come under this. And the last one is tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is also called a service sector. Under this comes transport, communication, trade, all the service sector. So everyone in the economy has to be working in these three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary sector. For convenience sake of it, CSO, Central Statistical Organization, classified all the industries under three categories: primary sector, secondary and tertiary sector. Of course, under these sectors you have subsectors. Like I told you, in the primary you have fishing, mining, logging, like this. Under tertiary sector, under secondary sector, you have construction, industries, there are many subsectors. Now we go to the next step. What is the next step? Estimating gross value of output of each sector. GVO at MP. How do you find out gross value of output? Let's recollect what you learned earlier. Gross value of output at market price is equal to sales plus change in stock. So obviously what it means, when a producer produces the goods, obviously he wants to sell them. Whatever is sold, that is sales, and whatever is left out at the end of the accounting year, that is called change in stock. Suppose a producer has produced 100 pens, he could sell at the end of the accounting year 80 pens. The 20 pens are with him, that we call it as closing stock, change in stock. So ultimately 80 plus 20, 100 pens. That is the gross value of output. Gross value of output is equal to sales plus change in stock, or quantity produced, units into price. So the second step is estimating gross value of output at market price. The third step is estimating gross value added at market price of each sector. That's primary, secondary and tertiary sector. How do you find out gross value added at market price? Gross value added at market price is equal to gross value of output at market price minus intermediate consumption expenditure. What it means, to produce any commodity, the firm has to buy raw materials, that is intermediate goods. So by subtracting the value of these intermediate goods, we can find out the value addition made by the producer. For example, someone sold furniture for 100 rupees. He must have purchased wood for 60 rupees. So his value addition is 40 rupees. So I repeat once again before you get confused. So how do we estimate national income by product method or value added method? The first step is classification of industries into 3 categories: primary, secondary, tertiary sector. The second step is estimating gross value of output of each sector. Gross value of output is equal to sales plus change in stock. And the third step is estimating gross value added at market price. Gross value at market price is equal to gross value of output at market price minus intermediate consumption expenditure. Let's go to the third step. So this third step is over. Let's go to the fourth step, estimating net value added at market price of each sector. How do we get net value added at market price? We discussed already, you remember, any gross value. If you subtract from the gross value depreciation, or we call it as consumption of fixed capital, you get net value added at market price. So from gross value added market price, by subtracting depreciation, wear and tear. When the producer is doing production, obviously some wear and tear, expected rate of obsolescence takes place. So by subtracting that, you get net value added at market price. That's the fourth step. First step is classification of industries. Second step is estimating gross value of output at market price. Third step is estimating gross value added at market price. Fourth step is estimating net value added at market price. The fifth step, estimating net value added at factor cost of each sector. How do you get net value added at market price? Recollect what I gave you earlier. From market price, if you subtract net indirect taxes, that is indirect taxes minus subsidies, you get factor cost. From net value at market price, by subtracting NIT, net indirect taxes, we get net value added at factor cost. Now we go to the next very important step, estimating NDP at factor cost, net domestic product or domestic income. How do you get net domestic product? By estimating net value added at market price of all the sectors, you get NDP at FC, that's a domestic income or domestic product. So NDP at FC is equal to NVA at FC of primary sector plus NVA at FC of secondary sector plus NVA at FC of tertiary sector. So we got NDP at FC. The last step is estimating national income or estimating NNP at FC. How do we get it? To indicate factor cost or domestic income, you add NFIA, net factor income from abroad, you get NNP at factor cost. What exactly is NFIA? We discussed earlier. I'll give you one sentence. Net factor income from abroad is the difference between factor income received by the residents of our country from the rest of the world and factor payments to non-residents working within our domestic territory. We discussed earlier, some of the Indians go and work, they bring the money to India from those countries, that we call it as factor incomes coming from abroad. Likewise, we discussed there are many foreigners working in India temporarily, that's less than 1 year. So we have to pay them factor payments in terms of wages and salaries, rent, interest and profits. They take it to their country. So that we call it as factor income to abroad. If you take the difference between these, we get NFIA, net factor income from abroad. By adding NFIA to NDP at factor cost, you get national income or NNP at factor cost. I repeat the steps once again. How do you estimate national product or domestic product by product method or value added method or net output method? Product method is also called as value added method because we are doing value addition here, or net output method. In this method, we adopt or follow 5-6 steps. Which are these? The first step is classification of industries. All the industries in the economy are classified into 3 categories: primary sector, secondary, tertiary sector. Primary sector deals with the exploitation of natural resources, agriculture, fishing, logging, mining. Secondary sector is also called as industrial sector, and tertiary sector is called service sector. This is the first step, classification of industries. The second step is estimating gross value of output at market price of each sector. How do you get GVO at MP? GVO at MP is equal to sales plus change in stock. Change in stock again is equal to closing stock minus opening stock. So first step is classification of industries. Second step is estimating GVO, gross value of output at market price. The third step is estimating gross value added at market price. How do you get GVA at MP? By subtracting intermediate consumption expenditure from GVA at MP, we get GVO at MP, we get GVA at MP, gross value added market price. The next step is estimating net value at market price. By subtracting depreciation from gross value added market price, you get net value added market price. The next step is estimating net value added at factor cost. By subtracting net indirect taxes from NVA at MP, we get NVA at FC. The most important step is estimating NDP at FC or domestic income by adding net value added at factor cost of all the enterprises in all the sectors. We get NDP at factor cost, which is nothing but domestic income. So NDP at factor cost is equal to NVA at FC or primary sector plus secondary sector plus tertiary sector. And the last step is estimating national income. So we can find out national income by adding NFI, net factor income from abroad, to NDP at FC. Gist or summarize estimating gross value of steps. The first step is classification of industries. 3. Primary, secondary, tertiary sector. The second step is estimating GVO at MP of all the sectors, whose formula is sales plus change in stock. The third step is estimating GVO at MP of all the sectors, gross value at market price. How do you get that? GVO at MP minus intermediate consumption expenditure. The third step is estimating NVA at MP. Subtract depreciation from, let's see here, before that, we'll take it estimating GVA at MP. GVA at MP is equal to GVO at MP minus intermediate consumption expenditure. Next step is NVA at MP is equal to GVO AT MP minus depreciation. The next step is NVA AT FC. NVA AT FC is equal to NVA AT MP minus NIT. The next step is NDP AT FC is equal to NVA AT FC of primary sector plus NVA AT FC of secondary sector plus NVA AT FC of tertiary sector. And the last step is estimating an NFIA AT FC or national income. Just add to domestic income, net factor income from abroad, you get an NFIA national income. I'm sure you must have followed it. That's all we have time for today. Till we meet next time, it's goodbye from Saddam Hussain. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, comment and like. So till we meet, best of luck for your exams. Till we meet next time. Bye-bye.